Payvand Seyed Ali also joins us now live from Kabul. She is an education and gender specialist. Thank you so much for being with us on the program today. Now, looking back in the past year, women have particularly been a target, being stripped from their basic rights, but they've been very resilient and they've made it clear to the Taliban and to the rest of the world that they're not going to be suppressed.
They're trying, but actively put down at every step. I don't know if it was on international news yesterday about 40 women marched one of the largest protests, and that's not large, 40 women, one of the largest protests in months, and it was shut down within about 10 minutes. Gunshots fired, protesters beaten, taken in. Even foreign journalists were detained until late, very late, 2 nights ago. So I would say, though, of course, women are not giving up, but the real resistance isn't happening on the streets. It's women who are trying to work, trying to create their own organizations, teachers' associations, female and male teachers who have refused to stop teaching or have reopened their schools independently, lobbied with governors. So yes, the women's movement is moving.
Right, and what could the international community have done differently that wouldn't put thousands of Afghans under the threat of the Taliban?
They shouldn't have left when they did. I don't know what analysis was done that led to such an extreme and sudden decision, because if there had been just a little bit of sensitive analysis, a few key facts could have impacted the decision and changed the future trajectory for Afghans. One of those facts is that last year was the first year that, based on new education policy implemented 3 or 4 years ago, girls would have graduated from grade 12 for the first time in community-based schools in rural communities. That policy was approved in 2019. It was piloted, and it was even partially funded by the United States. Had they done a tiny bit of analysis, they would have seen that their pullout was 3 months before the first cohort of rural girls completed their grade 12. That's what it looks like when you start to move towards critical mass. Girls in rural areas graduating from tiny schools in their community. This took years to develop. 2001 is the invasion. We're looking at 2021. A child's life is 18 years. It's not surprising that girls were only just reaching grade 12.
So how far back do you think that this pullout brought Afghanistan?
It's so hard to say. Of course, in urban areas, you will say it's taken us back 20 years. But it's still too soon to tell. You know, it's been, to be honest, the best way I can characterize it for many, and I do speak more from what I have seen in urban areas, but also in rural areas. It's been a year of grief. It's been a year of drastic change. The Taliban itself is figuring out its policies and movements. So it's a different world than it was 20 years ago. Media is different. Connectivity is different. Now, does that hold true for rural areas? I'm not sure. But the gains were very, very fragile.
All right. Payvand Seyed Ali, thank you so much for joining us here on TRT World.